quite interesting because I was having a conversation with one of our transport managers this morning, and we use Paragon for all our home delivery fleet. So that's the 110 to 120 vehicles we have out in the day. We have what we call a trunking fleet, which is large volume shipments to stores and indeed to our depots around the country. And when I asked Nick how we schedule that, he said in Nick's head, which I found was quite interesting. So actually we're coming out of a bit of a traditional world where we can do it ourselves because it's simple, it's straightforward and everything else like that. And I do get that to a certain degree because actually large bulk shipments routing down through main motorways and main artery roads in the UK, there's little to add. I'm not saying you can't, but there's little to add in terms of efficiencies, and the big efficiencies come in how you drive additional utilization of your vans when you're going to customers. Because typically our vans are knocking on 12 to 13 doors per day. And if each of them go 10% above the prescribed mileage, that's quite a significant amount of mileage every day, every week, every month, and therefore drives in costs. And equally, we need to measure and monitor what our drivers are doing, the harshness of braking, the speed at which they're going, the stops, the starts, and everything else like that, the idleness of the vehicle running, the utilization of fuel as a result of that. So I guess, and it's also trying to educate our crews that these aren't spies in the cabs to use to beat them over the head with. These are things that help us drive efficiencies that allow us to pay more, to give better service, and be ahead of the marketplace in respect of where it is. I think the second thing that technology needs to do, and Paragon is helping us with this, is enabling the customer to get full transparency. There's no doubt about it, within the UK, if you talk about it in the one-man world and one-man space, DPD are miles ahead of everybody else. Track my parcels, see my van, look at it going down my street, they can tell you the name of the driver, and right up until the time the driver arrives at your doorstep, you've got the option of changing your shipment. Changing your shipment to leave safe, leave with a neighbour, leave in a local collect store, or reschedule. That is leading edge. You pay for it and customers pay for it, but equally you get the choices. And I think that is rapidly coming onto the agenda in the two-man world, where up until now, I guess I don't believe the service has been challenged as much. And therefore, to drive that service even more, we've got to adopt technology to make us efficient so we can afford to continue to improve on that service. Correct. So the home delivery solution we have been using since about 2007, 2008. FlexiPod's a new introduction for us. So again, I said I joined the business about 9 months ago. We've been doing everything on paper and it works. But it's quite intensive, labor intensive, time intensive, and from a customer perspective, it's slow to update our central systems, which therefore means if a customer is trying to make an inquiry about a delivery that was attempted, about a delivery that was made and they've got an issue with, we're behind the apron in respect to being able to tell them what's happened. Paragon have a FlexiPod solution, which I have to honestly say we as a business tried to overcomplicate the introduction of it by, I guess, building the Rolls Royce, failing to recognise we actually had a perfectly well-made car that was ready for the motorway. So we switched on the standard car to put it on the motorway 7 weeks ago, and it's been a phenomenal success. So currently 20% of all our customers are now receiving delivery via ePod, or FlexiPod as Paragon call it. What does that mean to customers yet? Very little, other than they don't get a piece of paper to sign, they sign on glass, and the receipt confirmation is automatically sent back into our centre. It's really about the future and what that can do for customers, because as we now plan to roll that out across our network, so we're now late May, by the end of August this year we would expect to have FlexiPod operating across all of our vehicles and vans, including any contractors that we will insource for short periods of time. That will then enable us to take it to phase 2, where we can give live track and trace to customers and also use it for dynamically updating customers when they've completed pre-delivery, delivery -1 to the other customers, so they know that we're 10 or 15 minutes away. And I think it will change the customer experience. And what that means for us as a business is it will drive down contacts into our contact center, and it will make customers more self-sufficient in enabling them to see what's happening with their order.